Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will be talking about the do's and don'ts of foreign graduate pharmacists when they're planning on moving to the US in their future. And we are going to get a little particular about the pharmacists that are coming from Pakistan or India to the US. So let's go. If you're new here, my name is Afsha and I am also a foreign graduate pharmacist just like you. And on this channel, we explore strategies on how to score high in TOEFL and FPGEE related exams and just life of a pharmacist in the US in general. I'm going to talk about do's first and don'ts second. So the number one do would be to focus on your studying and don't study just for the sake of passing the exam. And I say this because I have been there, done that, and although the most of the time that I now remember from my university days is the time when I bunked the classes with my friends and I was sitting in the parking lot and drinking coffee endlessly, eating fries and whatnot. But I highly regret the time that I just studied for the sake of passing that exam. Did not study thinking that someday in my life I will be responsible for somebody's health. This is a very difficult mindset to have when you're young and you're in your uni days and you have your best friends for life and life is good and whatnot. But trust me, when you grow up and you move to a country like the United States of America and you have to take all these exams to get licensed here, the only thing you regret not doing earlier is studying properly because your concepts are weak, you have to study all over again, and at the end of the day, you end up wasting time because you have to redo the entire you have already been done with if you had studied properly in those 5 years of medical school. And it is very possible, trust me, to have fun in your university days because I know those are the golden ones and still not be guilty about it later on. Just try to focus on studies. Like when the time comes, make sure you're just studying for the sake of this profession. You're studying for the sake of yourself and not just passing the exams. And the second point that I want to talk about is making your concepts very clear and making your pharmacology very strong. Now I'm gonna share a little story with you all. So I was in my first school of medicine and there was this guy in our class. We used to study pharmacology from Lippincott and Katzing, by the way. Lippincott very heavily. So we were in first year and there was this pharmacology class going on and there was this guy in my class. He got this book and showed it to the professor and the professor got extremely angry. She made him throw the book out of the window and she was really upset about it. She was like, you're not supposed to read from that book and you should only be studying from Lippincott. Lippincott at that time as a first year medical student was huge, humongous. Katzing was humongous. And as a first year medical student, we had no idea. Like we were freshly pre-meds, right? So as you may all expect, after the class, we went to see what that book was. And for my folks who are watching this from India or Pakistan, the name of the author of that book was Firdaus. And it was like half of the size of Lippincott. Not even half, like 1/3 of the size of Lippincott. And everything was just one-line definition, two-line definitions. And the first year med student in me was so happy to see it. Like, it's so easy to pass the exam with this book. That's the reason she made him throw it out of the window, She doesn't want us to get there easy because she took it so long to be here. She's just jealous of us. That was the first thing that came into my mind and the mind of my friends, and that is what we ended up discussing. But now, years later, when I am teaching my students at the same level, only now I'm realizing why she made him throw the book out of the window, and I'm thankful to her that she made him throw the book out of the window because that's how important making your concepts is. And if we were studying from that book, God forbid, we would only be knowing the definition of digestive tract and we would only be knowing the definition of antibiotics and whatnot. So this brings me to my first point of not just studying for the sake of exams, but studying for the sake of this profession and studying for the sake of yourself and your career later down the line and making your concepts very clear. So studying properly with books like Lippincott, Katzing to make your concepts clear. Third point is kind of unusual and people often overlook it, but I am a huge fan of networking. And that's what my third point is. Start networking. With the age of AI, it has become so easy. Back in the day when I was in school, social media was there, but nobody was actually there to taught us this, you know. Networking is so important. And for people who think networking doesn't matter in the US and having connections is not gonna end you in a good job in US are so naive, are so naive, and I don't know what to tell you about that, because even in America, it's so important to have connections. And you know what they say here? They say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. So start messaging people. Professionally speaking, do it on LinkedIn. People are usually nice, and humans always crave for human interaction, you know. Start messaging people, learn to cold email, learn to talk. This is the best time while you're still in university, maybe your fourth year, fifth year, or even younger than that, or even if you have passed, like you just graduated. Go ahead, start messaging people, learn to talk. Learn to be in the same room of the people or the kind of people that you look up at, the people that you want to become. You will be amazed by the power of networking. Now, the fourth point is gaining experience in industry as well as in your clinical rotations or hospital settings, as you may say. And I have been asked this question so many times on my Instagram, asking if our experience from Pakistan, India, or China, or whatnot is going to be counted in the US. Yes, YES. And I have seen people literally saying, oh, we're going to be moving to US anyway after our graduation. There's no point of working here. We're going to start fresh in US. Well, newsflash, when you come to US and you don't have any experience, nobody's gonna talk to you. Not even the bird on the road. No. So it's very important to gain experience, even if it's in Mars or Pluto. Well, joking, but anywhere on this earth, it counts. Now coming to the don'ts part. The don'ts part brings me back to the last point in my do's part, and that is, if there's anything that you want to overlook if you have plans of moving here in the US, to the US after your graduation, would be the brand names. Because the brand names are usually respective of the country that you're graduating from or respective of the country that you're studying in. So they're not going to be here anyway. So the brand names you might be studying in Pakistan, India, Japan, China, whatever, would only be there to make you pass the exams in that specific country. If you're moving here, generics are huge here. They usually don't test you on the brand names that you have learned in your home country. Yes, they do test you on the brand names here as well, but those are from USP, the US Pharmacopoeia, and that's something specific for NAPLEX. For the first exam at least, it's very basic. They're not going to test you on that. Second don't would be not to study from books like Firdaus, like I mentioned in earlier in the video, in the do section, to study properly with books like Lipton, Cotton Cats. I'm speaking of pharmacology only and making your concepts very strong. So I'm going to keep it short and precise here. Point in the don't section would be not to worry about your GPA. Now, I've received a lot of questions from students asking if our GPA is going to be important. We have like a low GPA. Would we be eligible to take TOEFL, or would we be eligible to take FPGE, or would we be able to pass NAPLEX? And your reply to that is they do not care about your GPA unless you're registering or you're getting enrolled in a master's kind of program over here in the US. So for getting licensed as a pharmacist over here in the US, you do not have to be worrying about your GPA. A GPA as low as 2.3, I think, also qualifies. So I haven't put a number to it, so you don't have to worry about it. They're going to be treating you the same way they treat the person who had a distinction in their home country, or getting distinction in your home country is not going to make you earn the license. You have to work the ladder up. And these were all the points that I think super important as a foreign graduate pharmacist, and the ones that I experienced myself. If you find this video useful, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. Also follow me on Instagram, that's MedNerdygram, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.